take a deep breath and let's hear a story about Ashley, the farm girl who became a veterinarian and created a wildlife sanctuary. The morning sun cast gentle rays across the rolling fields of Willow Creek Farm, painting the landscape in hues of gold and amber. Ashley Morgan stood on the weathered porch of her family's farmhouse, breathing in the sweet scent of wildflowers and freshly cut hay that danced on the crisp morning breeze. Her fingers wrapped around a warm mug of chamomile tea, the aromatic steam rising and mingling with the cool air as she gazed contentedly at the peaceful scene before her. Black, her magnificent ebony stallion, grazed leisurely in the distant pasture, his glossy coat shimmering like polished onyx under the tender caress of sunlight. Ashley smiled as she watched him toss his majestic head, mane flowing like silk ribbons in the gentle wind. A sense of deep connection radiated through her chest whenever she spent time with Black, their bond forged through years of morning rides through dewy meadows and quiet moments of mutual understanding. Marley, her loyal Dalmatian, nuzzled against her leg, his spotted coat warm against her skin as his tail wagged with boundless enthusiasm. The dog's soulful eyes gazed up at her with unconditional love that never failed to fill her heart with gratitude. Each morning, Marley would wake her with gentle licks and excited whimpers, eager to start another day of adventure on their beloved farm. The farmhouse kitchen buzzed with the comforting sounds of her family preparing breakfast, her father's hearty laugh, her mother's soft humming, and the rhythmic chopping of fresh vegetables from their garden. The aroma of homemade bread and savory herbs filled the air, wrapping Ashley in a blanket of familiar comfort that had surrounded her entire life. Her shoulders relaxed as she breathed deeply, savoring the sensations of home that never failed to center her spirit. Ashley's calloused hands told the story of her dedication to the land, tending to crops, caring for animals, and helping maintain the farm that had been in her family for generations. The fertile soil beneath her fingernails connected her to the earth in a way that brought profound satisfaction to her soul. Every vegetable harvested and every animal nurtured represented a tangible manifestation of her care and hard work. The seasonal rhythms dictated their daily routines, planting in spring, tending in summer, harvesting in fall, and planning during winter's quiet reflection. Ashley found peace in this predictable cycle, the certainty of nature's patterns providing a comforting framework for her life. The knowledge that tomorrow would bring another beautiful sunrise over their fields filled her with a sense of security and belonging. Her small bedroom window framed the distant mountains, their peaks sometimes shrouded in misty blue haze that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. At night, with her window cracked open, the symphony of crickets and distant owl hoots would lull her into peaceful slumber. The cool country air, untainted by city pollution, filled her lungs with every deep, restful breath she took. The community of neighboring farms created an extended family that supported one another through celebrations and hardships alike. Weekend gatherings featured potluck dinners with tables groaning under the weight of homemade dishes, laughter echoing across fields as children played and adults shared stories. These connections provided a rich tapestry of human relationship that complemented Ashley's bond with the land. Ashley's collection of worn veterinary books filled the rustic bookshelf in her room, pages dog-eared and margins filled with her neat handwriting. Since childhood, she had bandaged injured rabbits, splinted birds' wings, and nursed orphaned lambs with remarkable intuition and gentle hands. Her talent for healing had not gone unnoticed by her parents, who exchanged knowing glances whenever they witnessed her natural abilities. The farm's income provided enough for their modest needs, but Ashley often found herself dreaming of what more she might accomplish with formal education. At night, gazing at the vast canopy of stars visible from their rural property, she felt both contentment and a subtle yearning for something just beyond her reach. The infinite sky seemed to reflect her own unexplored potential, vast and filled with possibilities. Despite the deep satisfaction her farm life provided, Ashley sometimes felt a gentle tugging in her heart, a whispered question, asking if there might be more she was meant to do. During quiet moments while brushing Black's gleaming coat, she would find herself imagining a life where her innate abilities to heal animals could reach beyond the boundaries of Willow Creek Farm. Her fingers would pause in their rhythmic stroking as her mind wandered to these uncharted possibilities. One crisp autumn evening, as golden light streamed through the kitchen windows and her mother's apple pie cooled on the windowsill, Ashley gathered her courage to voice the thoughts that had been swirling through her mind. Her parents sat at the worn oak table, hands wrapped around steaming mugs of coffee, their faces etched with the wisdom of years spent nurturing both land and family with equal devotion and care. Around the crackling fireplace that night, Ashley shared her dreams of studying veterinary medicine, her voice soft but growing steadier with each word as her parents listened with thoughtful expressions. Her father's weathered hand reached for hers across the table, his touch as comforting and familiar as the land they tended together. "You've always had a special way with animals, sweetheart," he said, his eyes reflecting the dancing flames and a father's pride. The city skyline emerged on the horizon as Ashley's train approached the station, a stark contrast to the rolling hills of Willow Creek Farm. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension as unfamiliar sounds and sensations surrounded her car horns, the hurried footsteps of commuters, and the subtle vibration of urban energy pulsing through concrete sidewalks. Clutching her worn leather suitcase containing carefully folded clothes and treasured photos of Black, Marley, and her family, she took a deep breath and stepped into her new chapter. University life unfolded in a whirlwind of lectures, late-night study sessions, and friendships forged over shared passions for animal welfare. Ashley's dorm room gradually transformed into a space that balanced her new academic pursuits with cherished reminders of home, a framed photo of Black grazing in morning mist, a handmade quilt from her mother that carried the subtle scent of home. Each night before sleep, she would touch these talismans and feel the distance between worlds grow slightly smaller. Anatomy classes revealed the miraculous complexity of animal bodies, while physiology lectures illuminated the delicate balance that sustained life in creatures great and small. Ashley's hands, once mainly acquainted with farm tools, now skillfully navigated microscopes and delicate surgical instruments with growing confidence. Her professors noted her uncommon combination of technical aptitude and genuine compassion, qualities that could not be taught, but that formed the foundation of exceptional veterinary care. Weekend video calls with her family brought the comfortable chaos of farm life to her small screen Marley, barking excitedly at the sound of her voice, her mother showing off jars of freshly canned preserves, her father reporting on the seasonal changes in crops and animals. These digital connections served as bridges between her two worlds, reminding her of the roots that nourished her even as she grew in new directions. The city offered experiences that expanded Ashley's understanding of the world museums filled with artifacts from distant cultures, restaurants serving cuisine she had never imagined, and diverse perspectives from classmates raised in environments vastly different from her rural upbringing. Like a sponge, she absorbed these new influences while maintaining the core values instilled by her upbringing: hard work, compassion, and reverence for all living things. During clinical rotations, Ashley encountered animals suffering from ailments rarely seen on her family farm. Urban pets with stress-related conditions, exotic species kept as companions, and wildlife injured by encounters with human development all passed through the university's veterinary hospital. Each case added to her growing expertise and reinforced her belief in the healing power of gentle hands guided by knowledgeable minds. Holidays brought joyful returns to Willow Creek Farm, where Ashley would sink into the embrace of familiar surroundings like settling into a perfectly shaped chair. Marathon rides with Black across frosted fields, Marley bounding alongside them through snow or spring flowers, rejuvenated her spirit and reminded her why she had chosen this path. These intermissions provided the perfect balance to her academic pursuits, replenishing her determination with each homecoming. Halfway through her program, Ashley participated in a wildlife rehabilitation internship, that opened her eyes to the broader applications of veterinary medicine beyond domestic animals. Working with injured hawks with fractured wings, orphaned deer fawns needing bottle feeding, and turtles recovering from shell damage expanded her vision of what her future practice might include. The satisfaction of releasing healed animals back to their natural habitats planted a seed of inspiration that would gradually take root in her imagination. Nights in the city never achieved the profound darkness of country skies, but Ashley discovered urban parks where she could escape concrete surroundings and reconnect with natural rhythms. These green spaces became sanctuaries where she would spread a blanket, close her eyes, and practice mindfulness exercises that grounded her when academic pressures mounted. The rustling leaves and distant bird calls, though different from farm sounds, spoke the same essential language of life persisting amid human activity. Final exams approached like gathering storm clouds on the horizon, bringing long hours in the library and practical assessments that tested both knowledge and nerve. Ashley created a study corner in her apartment adorned with lavender plants, their soothing scent a scientific aid to memory, and photos of the animals waiting for her healing touch back home. With each challenging concept mastered, she visualized another tool in her kit to help creatures in need. The graduation ceremony arrived on a perfect spring day, sunlight streaming through stained glass windows of the university auditorium as Ashley received her veterinary degree. In the audience, her parents beamed with pride, her mother dabbing tears with an embroidered handkerchief while her father sat tall, nodding with quiet satisfaction at his daughter's achievement. The weight of the diploma in her hands represented thousands of hours of dedication, hundreds of sleepless nights, and countless moments of doubt overcome through perseverance. As she packed her belongings for the journey home, Ashley realized how much she had grown during her time away. The nervous farm girl who had arrived years earlier had transformed into a confident professional with healing hands and a mind sharpened by rigorous education. Yet her heart remained unchanged in its essential, nature still beating with compassion for animals and longing for the rolling hills of Willow Creek Farm. The train ride home offered hours of quiet reflection as urban landscapes gradually gave way to suburbs, then rural scenes of crops and countryside. Ashley pressed her forehead against the cool window glass, watching familiar landmarks emerge like old friends welcoming her return. Her fingers, now capable of complex surgical techniques, tapped a gentle rhythm of anticipation on her worn veterinary textbook as the distance to home decreased with each passing mile. The familiar crunch of gravel beneath tires announced Ashley's arrival as her father's pickup truck turned onto the long driveway leading to the farmhouse. Marley's distinctive bark reached her ears first, a sound so deeply embedded in her memory that it instantly brought tears of joy to her eyes. The Dalmatian raced alongside the vehicle, spotted coat flashing in the sunlight as he welcomed home his beloved human companion after her long absence. Black whinnied from his pasture, tossing his magnificent head in recognition as Ashley stepped from the truck and breathed deeply of the sweet farm air. The stallion trotted to the fence line, ears pricked forward attentively as Ashley approached with outstretched hands and whispered greetings. His velvety nose pressed against her palm in a gesture that transcended their time apart, a connection undiminished by separation or change. That first night home, the family gathered around the farmhouse table for a celebration feast featuring her mother's legendary honey-glazed roast and vegetables harvested that morning from their garden. Candlelight danced across the familiar faces of her parents as they listened intently to Ashley's stories of university life and her dreams for the future. The comfortable weight of Marley's head resting on her lap beneath the table completed the circle of homecoming. Ashley spent the following weeks reacquainting herself with the seasonal rhythms of farm life, while simultaneously transforming the old barn into a small veterinary clinic. Her father helped install proper lighting and plumbing, while her mother sewed cushioned bedding for animal recovery spaces. With each nail hammered and shelf installed, Ashley's vision of combining her two worlds, formal veterinary training and rural practice, took tangible shape before her eyes. Word spread quickly through the community that Willow Creek Farm now offered professional veterinary services with the compassionate touch of a local who understood country living. Neighboring farmers brought livestock for treatment, families arrived with beloved pets needing care, and gradually, wildlife rehabilitation centers began referring cases that required specialized attention in a peaceful setting. Ashley's appointment book filled with diverse animals, all benefiting from her unique combination of scientific knowledge and intuitive understanding. The first wildlife rehabilitation case, a young owl with an injured wing, arrived on a misty morning 6 months after Ashley's return home. The raptor's fierce eyes reflected both wildness and vulnerability as she carefully examined the damaged wing, her trained hands gentle yet confident in their assessment. After successful treatment and weeks of rehabilitation, the moment of release back into the forest became a profound affirmation of Ashley's life path. As seasons passed, the transformed barn evolved into what locals affectionately called the Willow Creek Wildlife Sanctuary. Additional enclosures were constructed for longer-term rehabilitation cases, spacious pens for recovering deer, specialized habitat for injured foxes, and even a small pond area for waterfowl. Each space was thoughtfully designed to provide both medical care and natural environmental elements essential for successful recovery and release. Summer evenings found Ashley sitting on the farmhouse porch, Marley dozing at her feet while she reviewed medical charts and research papers, the gentle background chorus of crickets and distant owl calls providing perfect accompaniment to her work. These peaceful moments of reflection often filled her with overwhelming gratitude for the path that had brought her skills back home, where they seemed to fit so perfectly into the landscape of her life. Black, now sharing his pasture with several rescue horses, had adapted beautifully to his role as a calm presence for traumatized equines recovering from neglect or injury. Ashley would often observe from the fence line as the dignified stallion demonstrated peaceful grazing behaviors to nervous newcomers, his quiet confidence seemingly transmitting to the recovering animals. These moments of animal-to-animal healing touched Ashley deeply, reminding her that medicine extended beyond her human interventions. The arrival of 2 orphaned koala bears from a traveling educational program that could no longer care for them marked a turning point for the sanctuary. Their specialized dietary and habitat needs challenged Ashley to expand her knowledge and facilities, resulting in a new climate-controlled building specifically designed for exotic species requiring rehabilitation. The sight of the koalas contentedly munching eucalyptus in their custom habitat became a powerful symbol of how far her vision had evolved. Veterinary students from Ashley's alma mater began requesting internship opportunities at Willow Creek Wildlife Sanctuary, drawn by its unique combination of domestic, livestock, and wildlife medicine in a peaceful rural setting. Ashley discovered an unexpected joy in mentoring these young professionals, sharing both technical knowledge and the wisdom of balancing scientific precision with compassionate connection to each animal patient. The farm that had once seemed too quiet now hummed with purposeful activity. On the 10th anniversary of the sanctuary's founding, the community organized a celebration that brought together farmers, families, wildlife officials, and former patients who had been successfully released back to nature. Tables laden with potluck dishes stretched across the farmyard as children took guided tours of the rehabilitation facilities, and adults shared stories of animals helped by Ashley's healing hands. Her parents, now with silver threading their hair, watched with quiet pride as their daughter moved confidently among guests. One tranquil evening as sunset painted the farm in amber light, Ashley sat beside the small memorial garden created to honor animals that had passed under the sanctuary's care. Marley, now an elderly dog moving with dignified slowness, leaned against her leg while Black grazed peacefully in the distance. A sense of complete fulfillment washed over her as she realized that the something missing she had once felt had not been found in distant places, but rather in bringing her expanded self back to where she had always belonged.